I did. I hadn't even a chance to call today.
Brother, nice to see you, bro. How you doing?
Yes, ma'am.
How you doing, Ken?
Good to see you, ma'am. How are you doing today?
Three of us here. Well, two. One more for one. Slow coming in. Oh, you doing so early? I don't know.
Well, no, it's 10 minutes till 11. I think it's just hot outside.
Yeah.
I know I'm moving slow.
That's the mouthpiece. Well, you know where they came
I know exactly where that came from.
When I went to my tires, I said, what am I going to work like? I said,
I'll put on the green. It works good with the blue shirt.
how you doing, woman?
I'm doing fine. How you doing?
Is Terry seat right here? Somebody, so I just sit up here. I don't know if I can handle that.
What's up, buddy? How's Shamrock Terrace? I hadn't even talked to you about it forever.
I got all the stuff tore down, and they're hoping to be out there in the next day or two, at least moving equipment out there. So hopefully this week they'll be starting.
So
They got Boy Scout.
Got all the concrete out, the fences down, the trees down, just waiting for them to get out there.
And I try to remember what you said. Once they start digging, a couple weeks or
I'd say 3 weeks. 3 to 4.
so.
Anything that's
So hopefully
necessary.
they'll go ahead and knock it out.
That's good.
I don't know. That can be good.
Well, that's true. Brian was over at the house the other day, and we were talking about a sort of a mutual friend client on Ted Allen. And Brian was weaving in. You know, is it Ted or Junior?
I know Jack Jr. He's like my best friend, but I know Ted.
I thought it was what I remember him saying that you knew everybody, but you and maybe Jack were about the same age.
Yeah, he's a year younger than me. We grew up together. He's a good friend of mine. We lived together in college.
Gotcha.
I know all the
A
man.
young lady.
There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, there is.
Good, how are you? All these papers, that's actually property.
Two pieces of land.
Before it was that changed.
Yeah, it just changed today. She will come in June. And this is new too, that presentation. Alan's doing a presentation that wasn't previously up there. Huh? Yeah, it's at the bottom.
Non-residential cluster. Have to be set back all of our cluster development as long as you meet a boundary. Let's say all this is updated here. All of this is
This was mine. Thank you very much.
and so I don't think that we just change it there.
When we want to do it?
I'd like to stay there behind the truck. Sure, you'll make it great and uncomfortable.
But under presentation.
Good to see you. Always a pleasure to see you. I know we're in good hands. Yeah, I'm
Yes, ma'am.
You can get yours.
Don't do that.
See you soon. Tony, I would imagine Tony's going to be. I think some of these things got added on the end.
You said a few things.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I see
Just a
nine. I see 9. Yeah. Oh well. I originally had told my family, Jenna came out on Thursday. I told them on Friday. I said, unless something changes, there's a short agenda. I might be home real early to help with homework.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
Okay. Great, no, that's fine.
I thought I'd be out of here too.
All righty then.
Things changed.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
No. I want to go home.
Get dressed. Just stay. Well, we had 3. I'm wondering, was I that early?
Uh-huh.
The lady sitting over
Right.
The ladies are standing up over there.
Over there.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think they're here at Cooper's Point. Cooper's Point.
Yeah.
I think.
About the bombs.
Yeah.
Good to see you, sir.
Hey, how are you?
Okay, nice to meet you. Got any plans, Sylvia?
Stuff's ball game.
The ball game.
March 10th to that.
Does he like it? Come here.
I'm happy for you.
No, you. Does he know your last name?
I know it's a container, but I thought that what they were doing is they were, see what it is, all the stuff. I thought that they were putting stuff in. She had something nice. Started off, so she told
me. Outside it, because it's his house where he lives. He's coming. He's coming.
Well, I went.
Jacob waited. been there so long. He tore it down. And he tore down. Hey, how you doing, Mom? That's when I said, good sense. Even people question me about something. I said, I hate it. What you got here? They take one of the front porch out. Come on, I'm here. I know. I'm here. And they told my Zion Chapel Church. They tore up the big church. And you imagine, and you know how it does.
It done that.
So that's the problem.
Call the meeting to order. If everyone would please stand. We want to do something like just a little bit different. We have a scout here tonight that would like to do the invocation and the pledge. At this time, I'll ask Scout Stone Clark to come forward and do that.
Thank you. Dear Lord, I just pray that you will just let these nice ladies and gentlemen to just have a good meeting, Lord, that we will come together in peace, Lord, like they all hope they always do. Lord, thank you for this blessing you have given us to come to meet tonight, Lord, that you have given us the blessing of waking up every day, Lord. Some days we don't want to get up, Lord, but we just thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Clark. Excuse me. Oh, yeah, I'm fine. We'd like to welcome everyone tonight. Commissioner Jimmy Garris called me today, and most of you know Jimmy shows up at just about every one of our town board meetings, but he said he had another engagement tonight out at Pitt Community College. They're having graduation, and he had been invited to go to that, so that's the reason he's not here. Item number 5 on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, any items for recognition at this time?
Yes, sir.
Any new employees?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have a presentation, local government credit union, Miss Desiree, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, White.
Yes, sir, you did pronounce that correctly, Mayor Jackson. Good evening to the mayor and to the council members. As the mayor has stated, my name is Desiree White, and I am from the local government federal credit union. I am very grateful for the opportunity to share with you this evening. Let me begin by telling you that I spent 25 years in local government for the town of Carrboro, having recently retired, and transitioned to the credit union. Of course, I've talked about them for a long time, so it was a natural transition. Also, I have another connection to Winterville. Your town manager and I have been friends for over 20 years. when we went to the municipal and county administration course together. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity. I will not take up much of your time this evening. I know you're very busy people. But the credit union has, within the last year, begun a new focus, and that is to basically reach folks who may not know about the services that we provide. As many of you know, the credit union is a not-for-profit financial cooperative, and we're serving local government employees, city and county. We serve elected officials, boards, and volunteers. We have had a relationship with the State Employees Credit Union for well over 30 years. I think you probably know that we operate out of the same brick and mortar building. And so if you're a member of, as I was, a state employee early in my career and now having formerly been a member of local government, you can be a member actually of both credit unions, and you can take care of all of your business in one place. One of the reasons that the local government federal credit union is really important to elected officials is that if you become a member of LGFCU, you are eligible for scholarships through the School of Government. The local government federal credit union partners with the School of Government, providing over $50,000 worth of scholarships to elected officials. As well as, once you become a member, if you elect to do so, it makes your family members, your spouse, any children or grandchildren or siblings also eligible for membership. What we're doing now is trying to reach as many of our council members, our advisory boards, even our volunteers. Being a small town, I'm sure that you use a number of volunteers in your various departments, so they're also eligible, even if they volunteer for only a day. The credit union has some special services. We have a car buying program. We have scholarships for high school students that they may apply every year. So there are just a wide range of services that we would like to offer to you. In the packet that you have, I've included some of our general information. My card is also there. I'd like you to feel free to review that information at any time. And if you have any questions, I'm certainly available by phone or email if you would like. If you don't have any questions, that's all I have.
Anyone have any questions? Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for your time.
By the way, I'm a member.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. I believe the next item on the agenda is a consideration of a preferred alternative for proposed improvements at the intersection of Old Tar Road and Cooper Street.
As you know, the Department of Transportation has been working with engineering consulting firm, Mulkey Engineers, for study and then potential designs for the proposed widening and improvement of Old Tar Road and Evans Street. And there was a meeting recently in Raleigh, the purpose of which was to go over and discuss comments that have been collected through the a public comment process. Wasn't able to attend because of another appointment, but Darrell Vreeland, our transportation planner, gave me a briefing on what occurred at the meeting. And one question that I understand came out was whether or not the town of Winterville has a preference for one of the two alternatives that have been proposed for improvement of the intersection of Cooper and Old Tar. So I'd like to briefly share with you what those two alternatives are to see if the board would like to perhaps adopt a resolution in support of one or the other of those alternatives. What I've done is taken a larger map and tried to condense it down to the area of interest. So this is Old Tar, this is Cooper, which becomes Worthington when you go east of Old Tar, and then this is Main. So the first alternative, they have titled Alternative A, is just a conventional widening design. And it would include a left turning lane in all directions, and then one right turn lane from Old Tar onto Cooper, Worthington. And it also would include putting a traffic signal at the intersection. one of the things they have done is rated the design based on computer modeling for the level of service that would result. And they've given a rating for the AM peak hour and the PM peak hour. So this first design, the conventional widening design, scored a level C service level for both the AM and PM. And level C is described as average, minimally acceptable conditions, minimally convenient service, and moderate availability. The other alternative that has been proposed, they have titled Alternative A2, and this alternative proposes a roundabout at the intersection. And again, this was rated through computer modeling for a predicted level of service for both the AM peak hour and the PM peak hour. And the level of service that's predicted here is level A. Level A is described as excellent, high quality conditions, very convenient services, and widely available. So those are the two alternatives, a conventional widening with a traffic signal or a roundabout. So if the council would like to express a preference, my recommendation would be that a resolution to that effect be adopted, and we forward copies to NCDOT.
What's the timeline on this recommendation or whatever? Is it we supposed to do it immediately, or?
I wasn't given a specific time frame. I know that the current schedule calls for acquisition of right-of-way in about 2018 and construction in about 2020.
I gather for the purposes of planning, though, we need to go ahead and try to have some direction on record.
It would have been nice if we'd gotten this before tonight, though. Had some time to study it. As long as it's in it at all for tonight.
Yeah, that's potentially my fault. I wasn't able to attend this meeting, and then Darrell Vreeland made contact with me and made me aware that this was an issue of question that had arisen.
Mr. Lilly, I have a question. Plan A calls for a left turn on all four sides. Is that correct? A left turn lane.
That's right, left turning lanes for...
On all four sides.
That's right.
For Plan A. Does that include, is that the same thing with A2 except for the roundabout?
Well, A2 would be a roundabout design, and as you take the roundabout, you could just exit in the direction you want, so you'd have full access to all four directions through a roundabout as well.
So A2, you do away with the traffic light, use a roundabout. A, you would use a traffic light with no roundabout. And my other question, has our planning and zoning people, have they had any chance to look at these plans?
They have not.
Will they have?
Well, I'll take that back. They have, and I put copies of this at your places. They have seen the design for, or the alternatives for the entire route. And there's also been public meetings held. Some of the planning board members, came to those meetings. But as far as taking a position or making a recommendation, the Planning and Zoning Board has not.
Mayor and council members, my suggestion would be that you take your information tonight, study it. Please be ready for some recommendation at the June meeting. And in the meantime, maybe Alan can have that conversation with his planning board.
Yes. I think that'd be a great idea.
I think it'd be a good idea. Do we need a motion on that or not?
I don't think so.
No, you don't.
Okay.
And we'll probably get whichever one we don't want.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Well, it took us for years to get a four-way stop there.
I would rather have the signal light, but if we tell them we want the roundabout, we might get the signal light.
Considering that that's going to be a major thoroughfare, I really think the signal light would be better.
Absolutely.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. Are there any public hearings?
No, sir.
Okay. We have, I know some have signed up for public comment, and I was asked several years ago to read the rules covering public comment. The public comment period of 30 minutes provides provides an opportunity for residents to comment on any item included in the agenda or to address the town council on any other matter related to the town of Winterville. For an item included in the public hearing section of the agenda, residents should address the council at the time the mayor invites public comment on them. No public comment may be made to the council during the meeting except during the public comment period or as a part of a public hearing. Individual speakers are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes, and no more than 3 speakers may address the council on a single matter. The town council may elect to take no action on the matter addressed by a speaker, may schedule the matter for further consideration at future council meeting, or may refer the matter to town staff for disposition. Copies of the town public comment policy are available in the rear of this assembly room. And the first one that we have signed up is Ms. Valerie Tyson for Community Day discussion.
I think that's been moved to June.
Okay.
You have 3.
The next one I have is Mr. Calvin Henderson.
Good evening to the mayor, to the board, to everyone present. Tonight, if you notice that I'm speaking on an issue that I think is of great concern to all of us. I would like to say that I hope that the board did get a letter that I did send out dated May the 4th, addressed to the city manager. I hope you had an opportunity to read that, and we'll give it some consideration. But I would like to say also tonight that I think we are quite fortunate because as we meet tonight, the Eden Town Board is meeting to address a very serious issue that I hope that we can be proactive. We won't have to be dealing with as they are. That's it. The issue tonight, they are dealing with the gangs, gun violence and shooting, and the ride-by shooting in the neighborhood. And it is a very serious issue that is facing their community. And I think we are quite fortunate tonight that they haven't hit on our doorsteps yet. But I would like to say tonight that we do have some very serious issues in our streets, in our community, that I think that our board, we would like for you to really give it your serious, utmost attention, and that is our public streets. And the reason I said that public safety is because, as you know, that there are some areas that is more affected by certain issues than others. For example, the speeding, like Jones Street, probably other streets. I know there was some speed bumps put on Jones Street, but it don't seem to have worked too well at this point. I don't know whether it was the right one or not. But I would like to say that also that in the area of Jones Street, and why I put so much emphasis on Jones Street is because we have a Robinson Elementary, fine elementary school there. We have a nursing home there that many of those citizens are not able to look after themselves or speak for themselves. Many of them are experiencing various problems that we are quite fortunate. None of us have to experience, some health-wise and some mental. And that is the reason I'm so concerned about them at the speed that we see in that area. And the noise, especially the loud boom boxes, because these people deserve some peace and some rest in those homes. Many of them, as I said, are suffering from some serious illness that they deserve a little bit better than what is happening. And I hope that you will give that some attention of this issue that I'm at this time and at some point. Again, I would like to say that tonight, while I'm here, is also we have a very serious issue in our community. We have several of our citizens who are here tonight because part of our community being terrorized. There's a gentleman that had been terrorized in homes. Our citizens happened to wake up to find this gentleman on their porch. And when they say something to him, they have to experience being cursed out. I mean, just unbelievable attacks that are made. And he's all over the community. We have not been able to get the quality of help that we think we should be getting from our police department. Don't know why, but this is a problem, and I think it needs to be addressed before someone, is fatal, because this young man could be hurt seriously and even be killed by someone that feel that their lives were threatened under attack. It is going on as I speak. As I speak, I would like to say, as I was leaving home tonight, as I drove down the street, I saw him on another neighbor porch. And some of these are elderly people, some are young, singers that are living at home, working, they come back home. They wake up at night, this man is on their porch in front of their house. He threatens, he curses, and he, I guess, would even attempt to attack if, maybe they didn't get a little radical with him. So I'm saying tonight, please, to the board, to the police department, I can't understand why the police department has not responded in a more aggressive way, because of the fact that I know personally that they have been called several times. This young man, they do have family here. His family have even afraid to deal with him. So we feel that some measure has to be taken as far as the town to protect our people when it comes to public safety. And I will plead to you tonight, if you would look into this, have our police department to take some aggressive steps that would help eliminate this before someone is seriously hurt in our community. Some of us are aware of this, and I know that there are some of you on the board that know him, and I certainly hope that you will discuss it tonight before you leave. There are other things that I could go into. I will not tonight. I will maybe at some other point, because I know we're limited for time, but I felt it was important for me to bring that issue tonight because it's somewhat life-threatening to the citizens in our community. Thank you very much.
Is this person known to, I don't...
I know him, yes, sir. And there are many citizens here tonight that knows him. And from the community, they know.
Sure, the chief probably would like to know who it is.
I'll be glad to.
I know who it is, Mayor. If you'd like me to address you now or later, or both, I can.
Why don't we go ahead and do it now, and we'll, since we're on this subject.
I'll answer some questions. Good evening, council, citizens. Mr. Henderson is absolutely correct. Partly. The police department has arrested this individual 4 times since January. I have and it ranges everywhere from breaking and entering to communicating threats to assaulting a police officer and so on. So you are correct, Mr. Henderson, in that regard. There's also at least 12 other calls for service that have been responded to where this individual has had to be removed from residential and businesses at the request of either the resident or the business owner. So we are very, very familiar with this individual. There are a lot of things that are happening in the community. There's a residence on Bullock Street where one of the citizens allows this person to basically live in her vehicle. He's homeless. I feel that he is probably got some serious mental issues. His sister was just at the police department last week asking us why the judge let him out of jail. And she was very concerned about that situation as well. So I would submit that we are responding, we are enforcing the laws and ordinances of the town, but the judicial process is much more than just the executive part of that, our part of that. There's a judicial part of that is failing. So we are aware of this individual. I just heard tonight he was doing this again at the subway tonight before this meeting. Citizens are afraid of him. He doesn't act normally as we would think a normal person should act. But until he breaks the law or someone says, hey, you're going to have to leave, and then if he doesn't, then he's trespassing. So we don't have the capability to just remove him from our community. It's a lot bigger than that.
Is it one judge that's allowing him to keep coming back, or number of judges?
I would have to say it's probably more than one, because not the same judge sits on the
Did we
bench.
write a letter as a board to the prosecutor?
We have not gotten to that point. There's an also, we strive to have a deterrence other than jail. His family, there are avenues, there are commitments, there are different things, but.
Chief, I have a question. Rather than the arrest, will the family, will they sign an involuntary commitment to have him taken to Cherry or wherever for an evaluation rather than to jail?
They have not done so yet.
Can we get the family to do an involuntary commitment?
I don't know that is our place to suggest
I understand
such a
that.
thing.
I know where you're coming from.
I think they're under the impression that he had, just like you said, he's got to do something to get some help for their brother. I know that they've sought out help for him, but they, haven't been successful in doing that. I don't know that they are truly aware of all the avenues, whatever is available to them. And I realize that the police department should not have to do those kinds of things, but sometimes people just don't know. And someone has to tell them, what can be done. We all know it. We live in Winterville. But I think that they really don't know what to do right now. And if I can't see any harm in telling them what they can do.
If I might, I'm hearing this for the first time tonight. Chief, if you want to contact them or if they contact you, if you want to tell them to call me, okay. I'll be glad to speak with the family and make some suggestions, and maybe that might start some avenues here in the near future. I'll be glad to talk with them. Okay. You can give me if you've got a number, I'll call them. If you've got
I will.
A number.
I'll get you that information. Okay. And to address one of the other concerns that Mr. Henderson had, just this week we're partnering with the Greenville Police Department in a very successful program called Focused Deterrence. We're actually sending our folks to Reedsville, and I don't know a lot about this right now, but it is specifically to address gang initiatives. It's been implemented in High Point for the last 17 years, supposedly very successfully. Obviously, our Winterville connection is very close, so whatever they're going to do, we're going to try to grab a hold and do what they're doing as a preventive measure as well. So we're sending our folks there next week, and then Greenville's going to start their program in the months following, which we will be a part of as well, because we've been informed that the Greenville gang, there's families that stretch out to all the communities neighboring Greenville, and it's not just Greenville's problem. So we're trying to take a proactive approach towards that as well.
Will mentioned that everybody probably, I think, read about it. Winterville ranks 7th in the whole state for safest.
Fifth.
Yeah. I'm sorry, 5th. You're right, 5th.
Want to stay that way.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Chief. Okay, the next person I have here is Stephanie Ham.
She needs some help. She can do involuntary commitment.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. I'd just like to start by telling you thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you tonight. My name is Stephanie Ham, and my husband and I have been residents of Winterville for about 10 years now. We currently live on Windmill Drive in Coopers Point, where I'm a stay-at-home mom to our two kids, Vivian and Davis. I'm here tonight to be the voice of our children and speak to you on behalf of the parents of Coopers Point, and some of the ladies are over here tonight. I'm a little nervous, I'll tell you, but this is something that's very near and dear to my heart, so I'm going to try to not get emotional about it and get through this. I love Coopers Point because it is a neighborhood that I wanted to grow up in when I was a child. It's a place where our children ride their bikes up and down the streets, and they play basketball in each other's driveways. The moms gather at the house on the corner of Crescent and Windmill a couple nights a week just to catch up and let our kids catch up and play. We are a very tight-knit neighborhood. I know all the kids' names on my street. These people really are my extended family. As you know from the information that I think Ms. Parker gave you, the speed limit right now on Primrose and Barrel Drives are posted at 25 miles per hour. On the street I live on, Windmill and Crescent, we do not have posted speed limit signs, which, as you know, means it's 35 miles per hour. As a mother, it makes me sick to think of what a person driving 35 miles per hour could do to my child if they were to be hit. It would be fatal. We are a young neighborhood with at least 30 kids under the age of 10. As new construction began in our neighborhood last year, the traffic increased tremendously with new residents. We are here tonight to ask you to help protect our children because we cannot protect them from the speeding drivers and they cannot protect themselves. When we are in our driveways with our kids, as mothers and fathers, we are constantly yelling at these speeding drivers, asking them to slow down. The extreme would be for us to no longer let our kids play in our front yards, but to me that is not an option. It's our front yards and our kids should be safe playing there. I've given you a picture, the first page. That's my 2-year-old Davis, and he's standing with a visual warning sign that I purchased months ago. I know you've all seen these before in neighborhoods. I've never had to buy one before, but I thought I'm going to do this because what more would make someone slow down than a neon green sign that looks like a child holding a flag with the word slow on it. About a month ago, I was playing with Davis out in the front yard, and I stuck the sign at the end of the driveway like I always do. I watched a car come down Windmill Drive, and as she approached my home, she got faster and faster. Before she got to my driveway, I was waving my arms at her and yelling. She did not slow down, she did not stop, but she came within inches of knocking this little green sign down. That could have been my kid standing there. When she came back through the neighborhood, I was still outside with Davis, and she stopped and she apologized and told me that she was on her phone and that she was completely distracted and that she did not even see this little green figure outside of my driveway. It was in the street until she had passed and noticed that I was waving her down. I mean, she didn't even see me. Some of the residents in the neighborhood have purchased signs that are on the second page. We've stuck them in our yards, and they're down Windmill. If you were to drive down Windmill today, you would see them. It says, "Drive like your kids live here." This is a whole campaign, and it's for the safety of children. So we purchased these ourselves in hopes that this would remind people when they come through our neighborhood that kids live in this neighborhood and you need to slow down. They're not breaking any laws when they're driving 35 miles per hour, but they are going too fast for a neighborhood that has this many children. The third page, I just added a picture that's standing out in my yard, and it's just looking down Windmill so you can see what a straight stretch it is and how easy it is for someone to pick up speed coming in and out of the neighborhood. I don't know what more we can do as parents to protect our kids, so I'm here tonight to ask you to approve the reduction in speed limit and to give us speed bumps in Coopers Point. 25 miles per hour is not enough to keep our kids safe from these speeding drivers. They've been driving too fast in this neighborhood for too long, and speed bumps are truly our only hope to keep our children safe. And I also just want to say that we're not looking for speed bumps to be babysitters for our kids. We know that the streets are not a playground for our children. But like I said, we have so many kids under the age of 10, and if you've had children that were young, you know that I can tell my 2-year-old every day to not run in the street when his ball, goes out into the street. But he's not always going to remember that because he gets excited and he wants his ball. So we want these speed bumps in hopes just to slow people down. And I also just want to say thanks to Terry Parker. She has been great in responding back to us and being there for our needs, and we just want to say what an asset she is to the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What do we need to do to make that happen, Terry?
I've got an agenda item a little bit later in the meeting.
By the way, when Mr. Somewhere I got it in. Oh yeah, when Mr. Henderson spoke, also on this this form was Lee Grimes. Is he here or?
No, he couldn't get here.
It was the same thing.
No, he had his concern was there had been a storage facility placed near his driveway, and they had called a public safety issue. And I told him that, we put it on where he could if he got here. And I'm sure that he had mentioned it to some of the board members at this point. It had been sitting there for a while, and it interfered with them coming out of their driveway. It is Lee and I are very good friends, and I visit his home, and it's dangerous when you try to come out of his driveway.
It's number 8 on the other agenda items. It's number 8 under other agenda items.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Grimes lives on the corner of Boyd and 11. Is that right? On the corner of Boyd and 11, Mr. Grimes.
It's been on Boyd Street quite a while. It's on the town's right of way, the state's right of way too.
Yes, you all have us working on an item to address issues of the like.
Okay, the next one I have is Chantel, I guess it's Hawkins.
Good evening, council members, citizens, fellow citizens. My name is Chantel Hawkins. This is sort of an impromptu speech or just little thing that I wanted to say. I initially stood before the board in February in an unfavorable experience that I had, and since then I've read the town hall newsletters and spoken to various residents within the town, and have learned that the Winterville police have implemented various things to sort of build a relationship with citizens. Coffee with a cop, for example. Also, maybe basketball with some middle school students. I believe my son brought something home. What I wanted to say this evening is that is very good, and I would just say that is favorable. However, the coffee with the cop from, I believe, 8 to 10 a.m., it is not wide enough for the various residents to make it. I am a 4th grade teacher, and although I would like to come sometimes, I cannot make that. Also with my son, I was a little hesitant to send him to play basketball, and I know the police officers are public servants, but I would suggest something that I heard while myself was at the local Dollar General. Someone, an employee, he overheard me speaking to a member of the council and greeting each other, and he suggested a community cookout. And I thought that that was a wonderful idea, and this would extend the interaction amongst the resident citizens, be it you're a homeowner, be it you're renting. We still all have a stake here. As again, I say, I have a son in middle school. I have a high school son that's in high school at South Central, as well as a daughter who is in the 3rd grade. And they all bring value to the community as well. A community cookout would afford everyone from varied ages, disabilities, just different employee levels within the town to interact, communicate, collaborate with each other. And that's it. I feel like that would maybe soften the shell, and then too would allow me to then tell my son, Freedom, you can go and partake in the basketball. I know maybe some of you may not have seen me since the last time I spoke in February. Again, I have to attend PTA meetings on these evenings. It was put off tonight, and that's why I'm here. And I just would say I've been a resident in Winterville for close to 6 years, and I just thought that that was a wonderful idea. I think that, you know, we all share this community, we all live here, and we all bring memories to our children as well as elderly. I will be happy to help out in any way that I can, and I just wanted to bring that before the town, and I thank you.
Thank you.
I have one. Yes.
You gonna say?
I just got one question to you. Have you considered being part of the Watermelon Festival? I mean, that is a festival that is given here annually, and the turnout has been a community type gathering for us to meet and greet and really enjoy, to be in a great community like we have here. Have you considered that?
I've not considered it. I've not been a part of any town functions for my previous feelings about the town, but I am open to that. The Watermelon Festival, I know it runs about 2 to 3 days, and it has varied activities. And so, yes, I'm open to that, but I just wanted to bring the suggestion and the idea to the table for a community cookout, and keep in mind that a community, the key word in it is unity. And with a Watermelon Festival, you have varied residents that are not residents of Winterville. This would give Winterville residents a chance to meet each other on a one-on-one basis, maybe at one of the local parks in Winterville, possibly the park behind A.G. Cox. I don't know the name of it. Again, this is impromptu, and I've not done any research. I would be happy to, but again, I would be more than happy to participate in the Watermelon Festival. I've gone, but I've not participated in various activities. Again, just an idea to keep in mind.
Yes, ma'am. For the past 2 years, the police department's been funded under the police department, our Community Day, which is held in September at the park, in the recreation park up there behind the A.G. Cox. Free food, free entertainment, free everything. And I'm assuming that it will be, is it part of the police budget this year, Chief? The Community Day? It is. They partner with several groups in the community, and I know they're always looking for volunteers. So if you're willing to work with them, that's exactly what you're talking about, because they grill and
feed and play, and everything's free. And it is a real nice day in the park.
Miss Valerie Tyson was signed to speak tonight, and she changed it to June. But it's Community Day discussion, and like
sounds like just like what you're talking about.
Miss, like you just said, that would be exactly what it sounds like what you're interested in.
Well, thank you. I want to thank you for that.
Okay. Did someone else?
I think that's it.
That's all I have signed up to speak. So. Okay, item number 11 is the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion we approve the consent agenda?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, there were no items removed from the excuse me, consent agenda. Under old business, approval of an amendment on the budget calendar.
Mayor, members of the council, we discussed this at our budget update meeting we held recently. You have before you an amended calendar that includes up-to-date meetings with the one exception, and that is I would like to move the adoption of the budget meeting. Usually we do that in the regularly scheduled meeting in June. I'd like to move that to later in June, but I didn't have a date specific as I had hoped we would set that this evening.
Does that need to be before our next meeting, or it doesn't matter?
It needs to be in June.
Before our next meeting, regular meeting?
Before the June 9th meeting?
Yeah, before the June 9th meeting.
You're talking about the adoption of the budget?
Yes.
Was scheduled for the next regular meeting.
Okay.
I would like it for later in June.
All right.
But it needs to be before June 30th.
Do we need a motion on that?
Well, we need to set a date, and yes, sir, I'll need a motion on that.
Okay.
Anybody have
Do you
any?
have a date in mind?
I don't.
Anybody have?
Monday, June the 23rd.
Works for me.
I won't be here.
The mayor won't be here.
Oh, goodness.
I got a meeting in Pennsylvania starting on Sunday, which is at what, 22nd through the Wednesday.
About the 16th.
16th I could handle.
Monday the 16th. You need more time?
I don't know if you all feel like you need more time. I mean, I think that will be fine. Again, you all know some of the challenges we're going to have to discuss, so.
About Thursday the 19th.
It's fine with me.
Gives you a few more, gives us a few more days.
Is that good with everybody?
19th. What time? 6?
What time?
6 o'clock.
7?
6.
6.
Okay, do I hear a motion that we have the meeting on June 19th at 6 p.m.?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, if you all would now approve the amended budget calendar.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Item number 14 is new business installation of speed bumps and speed limits in Coopers Point subdivision.
Well, I don't think I could do much better of a job as Ms. Ham did. So with that said, it is something that I have been working with residents in Coopers Point on for some time. Actually, the item has been brought up before. You all know that it's been, I guess, about a year ago, a little over a year ago, speed bumps were installed on Jones Street sort of as a pilot project in an attempt to address the ongoing speeding issues that have occurred on that street. And again, that is not a complete straightaway, but certainly we had all witnessed speeding on several occasions. Mr. Henderson mentioned tonight that speeding still occurred, and I think I reported last monthly meeting that according to Chief that they had not received any speeding complaints on Jones in the last year. I want to make sure I'm not speaking out of turn, but that's what's been reported by the police department. Having said that, that seemed to be the first successful quote-unquote pilot that we've put in place. Having said that, I have been working in Coopers Point. You all know, as Ms. Ham reported, that Primrose and Beryl have a stated speed limit of 25 miles per hour. There are no signs on Windmill and Crescent, so that would lead us to believe that the speed limit is 35. So looking at installing potentially speed bumps, but definitely needing, my suggestion is to have a standard speed limit throughout that entire neighborhood. And I have suggested in my abstract 20 miles per hour. Obviously, that's up for discussion. And then whether or not you all would like to see speed bumps in addition to a reduced speed limit, that is certainly what we're presenting here tonight. I have included copies of emails from several of the residents who live in Coopers Point who had contacted me. Several of those folks are here this evening, and I did receive in the mail today, left it in my office, but a letter from Glenn Webb, County Commissioner. I think he'd been contacted by some of the residents. He stated that this past weekend he was in Coopers Point for an extended period of time and observed the driving patterns of people going through the neighborhood. He did observe what he thought was some speeding issues and felt like a reduced speed limit was certainly appropriate. So with that said, I'll put it forward for your discussion.
Go ahead.
What is your motion, please, sir?
To move the speed limits to 20 miles per hour throughout Coopers Point.
Which would, if I could just clarify, Primrose, Beryl, Windmill, Crescent.
Those are the long roads, yes.
What you could do is put a, at the end of the neighborhood, the neighborhood of a sign. It says neighborhood. Also, the entire neighborhood is 20 miles an hour. They also have the signs.
Now, there is no state road, street down there at all. It's all belong to Winterville.
Yes, sir.
Only Ainge turning into Coopers Point is a.
Yeah. We tried to reduce Ainge to 25, and the state wouldn't let us do it. The state turned us down our request for 25.
Is that 35?
It's 30.
30. Yeah. A motion had been made.
We asked for 25, the state wouldn't allow us to do it.
Yes, sir.
This is their road.
We do have a motion and a second to reduce the speed limit. I think, for my information, I'd like to know what streets are you talking about? I live on Cooper, as most of you know, and how far down do you go all the way to Craft Winds? Or, I mean, I just...
I included a map, pictorial, in your agenda packet that I have studied and been talking about predominantly the four, what I call main streets in Coopers Point, which would be Primrose, which goes from Ainge all the way to Rosewood, and then you have Beryl, which starts on as you come off of Ainge, and then there's a cul-de-sac, I think, at the end of Beryl, and then Windmill, you turn off of Ainge, and it loops around and becomes Crescent, and then back into Windmill. Those are the main streets that I've been looking at and are included in my recommendation.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, then the next item, I think, is speed bumps.
Now, my question with the speed bumps is, the speed bumps that we have now is a pilot type speed bumps. Is that might be the reason why it's not working on Jones Street? Or is those considered as permanent speed bumps, or the regular size that you usually use for speed bumps?
Those are permanent, normal speed bumps.
Okay, so that will be the same type if we would consider be the same type you would place in Cooper Point.
endless possibilities as far as different types of speed bumps in the water.
I think staff felt like they were easier to install and potentially you could move them if you needed to. That was another reason why I think staff chose that particular type of speed bump, if you will. So we do anticipate continuing to use those.
Now, is the speed limit on Jones Street the same? I know that we talking about something different, but is the speed limit on Jones Street is 35 or is it 20?
It's 20.
25. Okay. And the distance, I think that's my other, the distance, how they are separated. Could we bring them in closer? If you bring them in closer, would that help out the situation even on Jones Street, Chief? And or add an extra one there?
The closer you make them, the more you have to have, it becomes a cost issue. The closer they are,
I think you get a lot of opinions. You get some people who say they don't work. You get some people who say they do work. I'm on Jones Street all the time because I pick up and drop off my kids to school. And I can tell you, they look like they work to me because I know I slow down.
Me and you both.
So, you know, there may be some people that say that they don't work. And again, anytime you put speed bumps down, there's going to be people who like them. There's going to be people who don't like them. But in my opinion, they work. And you're going to always have some people that are going to try to speed from speed bump to speed bump. That's going to happen.
I think that when we installed the speed bumps on Jones Street, we wanted to try to see over about a year's time what the impact was. And I believe it was last meeting, I stated during my report that I felt like because we'd had a year's worth of information on the book, so to speak, that there were going to be some of the neighborhoods that had been asking for them for an extended period of time coming forward and asking for them. Probably in some additional neighborhoods we've not had requests in the past come forward and ask for those. So I felt like it was a beginning of a process.
Okay. Prior to the installation and changing of the speed limit, we're doing all these things. Are we going to put any warning lights out? Are we going to put the what you call it, the speed limit monitor thing? You know, the big thing there to let people know that they are speeding and the speed limit's changing.
That's been on my street more than once. It don't work.
Yeah.
Just let you know if the speedometer's right.
Well, you know, I mean, most of it helps those who want to change. We'll say that. If you're going to change the speed limit and that kind of thing, we don't want to just kind of, we want to slow people down. We don't want to do a catch me if you can situation. And changing the habits on these streets.
I think Mark hit it. Some will obey it. I've seen them set up that cart, or that radar cart, I call it, on Cooper Street, and they get in front of my house and floorboard it so they can see how fast they're going when they hit the radar sign. So it doesn't always work, but at least we try.
Blue lights on Cooper Street get you slowed down.
My next motion is to put the speed bumps on those same roads that we just named throughout Cooper's Point. And you can put one right in front of my house if you want to. If somebody don't like it, then come talk to me.
And I will say this, now Greenville's got them everywhere. And I like the speed bumps that's on Jones Street much better than some I've seen in Greenville.
Second.
Greenville, I've seen some where they take something like a 4-inch block, put it across the street, and put it maybe 4 or 5 feet, another cement block or several blocks, and fill it up with concrete, and that just it's just not, in my opinion, a very good speed bump. But we got a motion to install the
I'll second on that.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Well, I got a question.
Okay.
And my question is the distance they are going to be from one another. Because it appeared to me that, you know, we already got a model out and it is working, but we're talking about a resident that lives on that street that sees the traffic quite a bit, like Councilman Smith will be seeing once we place it in Cooper's Point. Do we need to probably showing the distance of the speed bumps? I think I asked that question a few minutes ago.
Well, you don't, there are a couple of those streets, you don't have any, in Cooper's Point particularly, there are no stop signs once you're on those. It's a straightaway, so the distance of those is going to require more. We are certainly, after hearing Mr. Henderson's report, we can go back and look at where the ones on Jones Street are currently placed, but if you'll note, it's at least broken up by a stop sign. So I do think that'll come into play, the length of the street, whether or not there are any stops in the interim.
So you're saying that the length that we have now is going to be the same length that you're going to place in Cooper's?
No, I'm saying that we'll have to look at the conditions on each street to try to determine
Depends on
what's
where you
most
start and
appropriate.
stop, where your start and stops are, and the distance between the start and stops.
And just as a point of information, how much is the cost for a speed bump or whatever?
I think I said it was 1,500.
The ones on Jones Street were, I believe, 4,000.
Total for all of those or each?
Each.
I don't think each.
No, I don't think.
No.
I think that was total for.
I think it was total.
Right. Yes, I think so, about
Exactly.
$1,700, $2,000 a set.
Okay.
We'll double check that. Definitely not cheap.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to install the speed bumps in Cooper's Point. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Just for the record, it may take a little bit of time to get all of that done and installed, so please be patient.
Okay, item number 2 is the final plat for the Wall Deb Holdings.
Deb Holdings property is located on the north side of Four Lines Road, about 450 feet east of Reedy Branch Road. And this property currently consists of 2 tracts of land, one on the front of the property, fronting Four Lines, one towards the rear, that includes a strip of land giving it access to Four Lines. And there are currently 4 facilities located on these 2 properties, 2 on this property and 2 on this property. What this plat would do, and there's copies of the plat in front of your places, is subdivide the property into a parcel for each of the facilities, and then the balance of the property would become open common area for access to the facilities. And this is under a provision in our zoning ordinance called non-residential cluster development. And that regulation basically says in a cluster development, the interior lots and buildings don't have to meet the setback requirements from the interior property lines as long as the setbacks to the exterior boundaries of the properties are met. So what this would do would be enable separate ownership or different parcels for each facility on the property. And then, as I said, the remainder of the property becomes common area.
Who would take care of the common area?
Be a owners association that would give all of the parcel owners equal rights and equal responsibilities in the common areas. So this is a copy of the actual plat. And you see the resulting 4 lots here, 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 and here, and then the resulting common areas. The Planning and Zoning Board considered the plat at their April 21st meeting and have voted to recommend approval. I see that we have Ken Malpas of Malpas and Associates with us representing the applicant. In case you have anything you need to add or if you should have questions for the applicant.
I move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for approval. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Under item 15, other agenda items. The first one is update on cemeteries dump status.
Just wondering, we're going to have a meeting with from people in Winterville. What's the next step?
We need to set a date. I believe I could be wrong. I thought I had given this during my report last month. We're supposed to meet with the county representatives. Right. Again, trying to get a date in the middle of budget season is a little bit difficult. So I believe if we could just hold on just a little bit and get us through the next few meetings, then we'll try to get a date together. My
concern is I get so many phone calls. People want to make sure that the cemetery is moved and the dump is moved. Right. I had somebody talk the other day. They said, it's a shame we got to bury our loved ones in a dump, beside a dump. So.
Well, I certainly have passed along some of the sentiments of council, and I know that we'll be trying to get a date as soon as we can, maybe before the end of the budget year.
I'm on that committee, and Councilman Moore, and so is Miss Gloria Short. She's here tonight. And we're anxious to get started again on that, but I do believe that we got to get through this budget session right now before we can really be productive in that. But
I ran into John Demery at the grocery store this weekend, and he is ready. I realize that's got to go through Scott, I'm assuming.
Well, yes.
But, he is well aware of our intentions and what we would like to do down there, and he definitely wants to sit down with us, but I guess that's got to be done a little higher on the food chain than him.
Well, he will certainly be part of the group that gets together and meets with you all, but it's going to involve a few other people as well.
What is the discussion? If we want them to move, give them 1 year at least, why don't you just tell them to move?
That is an option, and then what they do as a result.
That's up to them. If this board would say we don't want to dump at the cemetery, there's no discussion, is there?
Well, I guess it depends on how you look at it.
I think what we had decided was we were going to try to be a little diplomatic about it, being John is a resident of our town.
I can understand.
And I think they've got some options that they want to present. I know John is well aware that we want and would like to see it moved.
All the representatives are.
Trying to go about it in a little more diplomatic manner than just say, "Howdy, see you." That was what we had talked about. It's been 2 or 3 months ago now. Right. That was the reason that we had tried to put together a little meeting, at least so that they could hear us out and we could hear them out, and then move forward from there.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Item number 2 is the funding non-town agencies request due to the needs of the festival.
You know, we rent the facility rescue to the county, then we give the money back to them. Do our services improve because we get the money back? Should we even charge a rent?
We're talking about EMS?
Yes.
To the festival, huh? We're on the festival.
3, discussion.
We haven't said
we're on number 2.
We haven't done anything about the festival yet. Okay.
And I brought this up I'd like to let the festival know that we're going to give them some money before the end of the budget season so they can plan. So I was going to make a motion, if it's up to y'all, if y'all agreeable to fund them at $35,000 this year, plus in kind for the festival. That's the same amount last few years.
Do we want to do this before we do the budget?
The thing is, that's in the June, it would help them plan. If I were on the festival committee, I would like to know ahead of time whether I have the money or not and make plans.
The only thing that concerns me about this is 2 years ago, we voted to give them $35,000, and the next year, included in the same motion, was $25,000. And before the next year ever rolled around, we increased that to $35,000. Are we going to go ahead and give them $35,000 now, and then about 2 months down the road, give them another $10,000?
Just get $35,000 now, and then don't give me any more this year.
We will give them more.
No, 35 flat.
Well, we said we won't want to do it before, but we did.
But they wouldn't financial difficulty up to last year. I think they were in debt $60-some thousand.
I know I think we all got an email today from a citizen that was really concerned about this funding of nonprofits. I guess I know I saw it. I guess everybody else did too. We're talking about raising water rates and sewer rates, and then we're going to give $250,000 away to nonprofits. And but we have a motion to go ahead and give.
Go ahead and approve $35,000 in next year's budget for the festival.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to go ahead and give $35,000 to the Watermelon Festival for this year. Is that what I'm hearing?
For August, for next year's budget.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Discussion. I know the Watermelon Festival needs the commitment from us to make their plans, but to me, it's like we're treating one nonprofit more than better than we're doing the others, because all the others have to wait for the budget to get their commitment from us. You know, I know that this is a festival. It brings lots of people to town. It is good for our town to have it. It's one of the safest ones in North Carolina. And I do support the festival, but I do think that we have always made concessions towards them. They know that we're committed to helping fund the festival. There's no doubt in their minds that we will be, you know, we will be contributing to it. But I do think that we need to keep in mind that we have other nonprofits that we are doing. Right now, included in that $250,000 that we're talking about is the funding for our library. I'm quite sure. That's the only way I could see if the figures would be that high. That's right. So we're not committing to that either.
No.
And the county, and basically Shepherd Memorial says that we need this much to fund your library to keep it open the 57 hours that it is open during the week. So that's my opposition to the motion.
Well, just to add, it's the only non-alcoholic festival in the county. No beer is served, which there are other festivals have a beer garden. We do not have a beer garden. There's a positive about our festival. And I'm proud that our festival committee has decided to not have beer garden.
But if I'm not mistaken, based on the information I've received from other towns, we fund our festival at a higher level than any other township in Pitt County. And I know that we're committed to it. I know that we're going to help support it. But I just, you know, to designate monies before the budget, you know, well, we've done it before, so. But.
Well, I was getting ready to say the same thing, and I just want to thank Ms. Robinson for it. There's no need for me to repeat the same thing what she was saying, because this is what I was thinking, the same thing. I would rather for us, this board, to wait until we do it all during budget, make sure that is what this whole board desire to do, and that we can be able to afford to do something like that. We got a lot of other things that that we really have to look at very, very closely. You know, some increases that we already know that we're going to have, but we want to make sure that we can be able to accommodate our citizen towards those type increases that we have in front of us at this time. So I say to this board, if we don't mind, just think about it and let us stress this during our budget meeting.
Any further discussion? We have a motion and a second to go ahead and give the Watermelon Festival $35,000. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
Give us 3 opposes.
All in favor, raise your hand, please. All opposed? Looks like
3.
2 to 3.
2 to 3, Mayor. 2 to 3.
Did you vote?
Yes.
2 to 3.
I'm opposed.
Opposed.
Okay. So motion fails.
Another item I brought up, the third item, was about rent. We charged the county, what, $35,000 to rent?
We charge the EMS.
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 $35,000. Is there any benefit?
Well, I'm not sure it's $35,000. I don't know if Anthony remembers off the top of his head how much we charge EMS I was thinking it was in the $16,000.
It's 4,000 some change a quarter.
$16,000.
Right.
And my question, just to bring it for budget time, do our citizens receive any benefit from that $16,000 that we give back?
I think, and of course, Chief Morse is on the board for EMS, so he could really speak probably more succinctly than I can. I think what the arrangement that you currently have with EMS, and it's not with the county, it's with EMS, has enabled them to more quickly replace their ambulances, which they own, not the county, I believe, in a more expeditious way than maybe otherwise.
I don't know exactly what the question is, but I can tell you that without that money, you would only have one ambulance in town.
One ambulance in town. How many does Farmville have, and how many does...
Farmville has 3.
They have 3, and we have 2?
Right.
How many does Aiden have?
3.
We only have 2.
Is that 2 normally, or will that be 3?
One frontline in service and 1 reserve, so that when that one's broke down, getting worked on, getting tires, whatever, you've got something else to put in service.
How many does Grifton have?
2.
So Grifton's a fifth our size, and they're...
That's irrelevant. The point is, you've got 1 truck in service, and when it breaks down, you've got to have something else to put in service.
Well, that's the reason I mentioned this before budget time, to think about, and I mentioned this a few years ago, that the money leaving Winterville, I wished we would go back and vote, look at taking back over rescue services within our town limits. The vote was 4-1 years ago to give it to the county, and we have to give them 1 year notice to take back over rescue. We know rescue's a moneymaker. We were charging, what, $250 at the time, $225. Now they're charging double what we were charging.
Well, they started off at 3 cents on the 100, and now they're up to 4.6.
4.6. Mm-hmm. County taxes.
EMS tax.
And what do they charge to pick people up?
It's kind of a sliding scale depending on the service.
But we were charging $225. Is that correct? $250.
I don't think you can ride an ambulance in Pitt County for.
What I'm saying is that's what we were charging at the time. Is that correct?
We didn't charge before that.
We charged at the time where it's been 10 years ago.
I know a typical cardiac event, what we would consider an ALS2 call, you're probably looking $700.
Wow.
But it depends on the interventions that are done. It depends on the mileage.
I'm concerned. We only have 2, and Farm was half our size, and Aiden's half our size. They have 3, and the county funds it.
You can't base EMS calls on size, though. You've got to base it on call volume. And if we took out the calls we run on mutual aid, it's like fires. We don't have as many fires as you have in Aiden. We have more wrecks and medical calls and stuff. So it's kind of convoluted, but it's a very complicated scenario, and it's going to take a lot of research.
And we have 2 trucks now, right?
Yes.
We have 2 trucks, and without the $16,000 that we give back, we wouldn't have the second truck.
Well, we could have. Obviously we could have financed something, but that would have been taking on more debt.
How many on your board? 3 people on your board?
7.
7 on your board. You charge a tax of 4.6 on property.
Mm-hmm.
What does Aiden charge?
It's a county-wide tax
4.6.
outside the city limits of Greenville.
Outside. Okay.
Outside the city limits of Greenville.
And while you're up, the next one is...
Don't go anywhere.
The next one is the radios. Now, a few years ago, the county required us to put $180,000 for radios. I think we have a report here on the radios. I know the other communities complained about radios not working.
Right. Well, there's a couple things there, let me say, to start with. We spent a lot more than $180,000. We spent initially $253,000.
Not 180?
Well, you're talking about all departments. It
Between
wasn't
fire,
just
public
fire.
works, and electric. Basically, we had to buy all of our equipment. Farmville Public Works and Greenville Public Works are also on the system. All of the the other fire departments in the county are nonprofits. None of those pay the subscriber fee that we pay, $10 per radio per month. Public Works in Greenville, Public Works in Farmville do. And you'll see a couple things. There have been problems with the system, I will say that. And I think if you ask any fireman in Pitt County, they'll tell you the same thing. The question is, what's causing those problems? Is it design? Did the contractor not meet the specifications? Is it policy and procedure? So it's another big question. You'll see a couple things I laid in front of all of you. The first thing is a timeline. Should be the first sheet in the stack. You will notice that April 30th, the county engineer took over the project. I'm assuming, and Mr. Garris is normally here, he's not here tonight. Initially, the county manager was going to be the project manager. Now the county engineer is. That's probably a good thing. He's probably got a little more technical knowledge. They did go through and do the annual preventative maintenance on the system, primarily the transmitter site at Wintergreen and the 911 center. And the contractor that they've hired to evaluate the system, which was the runner-up in the bid process to engineer the system, to design it initially, they went through with Motorola when they did the PM. I don't know what they checked. They checked the calibration on the antennas, the transmitters, all that stuff, and so that they'd have a little bit more working knowledge. And the next thing that they're going to do, they're going to actually come around and do some field tests on the signal strength in different places. I'll show you these maps. I think you can't see them from here, but I'll be glad to show them to you after the meeting. This is the,
okay.
This is the kind of a scatter map of Polk County. You'll see the green dots, those are paging failures, the blue dots are radio failures.
So all those dots are failures?
Well, those are documented failures.
Documented.
I will just emphasize that this is very subjective. If you come up and ask me if something works and I say yes or no, and you ask me for examples, I'm trying to recall that stuff. That's kind of hairy. So these are documented failures. You'll see some of the busier departments have got a little better documentation. We've had a number of failures. The last 3 house fires we've had, we're using the radio, go to the front door, be down and smoking this holler place. That's pretty scary. So, and we've got a map like this for fire and EVL. It's the same system, the same frequency, so it should be the same thing. The second map we've got, this is one of the specific, the tan here, and I'll go with just individuals after me. The tan is the town limits. Again, you've got those same failures, just places. A lot of these blue dots are paging failures. We have a significant issue with our pagers going off. They're trying to get some percentage or some rate for that. That's very hard to do unless you would ever remember that has a pager every time that there's a call, the pager's activated. We've been, I'll give you 2 examples. We were standing in the truck bay one day, got a call for a wreck, 10 people standing there, 6 pagers go off. We had to set them off a couple of times. We never get more than 6 to go off, and it's never the same ones. So that's kind of, there's an anomaly there somewhere. They got to figure out what it is.
All that money they spent, and they don't.
I'm right there with you. Trust me, I'm frustrated with it every day. I mean, you may have heard my radio sitting in here tonight. You hear that bump, that's an out of range signal. Well, for firemen, if they work inside the building, that's a problem because that's normally where we operate.
David, can I interrupt you? The paging system was not changed.
Paging system was changed.
Was changed.
It was to meet the SEC mandate.
Okay.
That's a long conversation because they had some options. They looked at this option.
Right.
It's not work. We had a meeting with the consultant they hired, the county engineer, in the county EOC, which is in the the same building, and now the ones that one room away during the meeting, we had the MS call. We got the text message for it. Well, they put the wrong address in, that was one problem. But two of us were sitting there, neither payment went off.
Suppose we ask them to put a tower on top of our water tank. Would that help?
Well, the interesting
Antenna.
thing is the transmitter is at the Winterville site. And if you go out, you can see it from your house. But if you moved out from the trees at nighttime, you can see the light on the tower. So we should have no problems. It's probably a programming issue or design issue that the 911 site and this site are conflicting with each other. So that's what they've got to figure out.
It's been going on for 2 years, because I saw all the firemen, complain about it.
Mr. Garris was here tonight. I think the county manager recommended we acknowledge the budget for this coming year to act on whatever recommendations this consultant comes up with.
Will it cost us additional money?
Not as far as I'm concerned.
But could it? Could the county come back and? No, I'm saying, could the county, they requested us to put this kind of money in the radio system. Could they come up this year's budget and do that?
I think they could definitely ask for it, but the thing is, the system is there. The money we spent is hardware, the papers, the radios, and stuff that we have. The system is there, and the problem is in the system. Radios were fine. It's the system.
How much did they spend total, just for information purposes?
I'm going to say about $4.5
$1 million. Just for information. Thank you.
I'll be glad to
I just hope I don't have a heart attack. Try to take my cholesterol medicine.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, item number 5 is just,
Mayor,
I'm
hold on.
sorry.
That's all right. There's a couple more things in there just for information. The actual contract with Kimball is in there. That'll show you some of what they're going to do, and the results from the surveys are in there. They'll be reading for your entertainment.
Thanks.
The fifth item I brought up was about the library board. And I voted against funding the library last year when it was voted on because we didn't have representation. I would like for the board, make a motion for this board to write a letter to them asking for representation from this board. It could be an individual, could a board member, and see if they would allow us to have a member on their board.
You say representation, one of us, or could a citizen?
Or a citizen.
Okay.
The choice of this board.
Make the motion now, second.
Just made a motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to
Ask Shepard Library.
ask for a representative from Winterville to be on the library board. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 6 is report on vacant position and monies not used but in the present budget.
Councilman Moore, this was another item that I assume you just want an update on that?
Yes, ma'am.
The open vacant positions we have currently, we have an advertisement for the assistant town manager. That funding is not included in this year's budget. By the time somebody comes on board, it'll be next year's budget. That ends Thursday. And we also have a position for an economic development planner, which was formerly a planner position. That advertisement ends Thursday. Then I believe we have a reserve police officer's position that is ongoing until we find somebody to fill it, but that's it. So I would say that the amount of money that was appropriated and not spent, keep in mind that we have taken part of that salary money and spent it for other things like other part-time help, things of that nature along the way. But once we get these positions filled, I mean, we will be full staff and hope to stay that way.
Okay, thank you.
And if it's appropriate, can we take 7, 8, and 9 collectively?
Yes, yes.
We have Mr. Weldon and Mr. Wellborn here to try to help discuss these items. Mr. Weldon, as you know, is dealing with all of our code enforcement minimum housing issues. We have a list that he's identified. He's held hearings on all of those. I have supplied that list to you all. We're currently working with the town attorney to finalize the end part of that process. That includes the house on Mill Street. Don't want to speak for you, Mike, but let me get this out while it's on my mind. That also includes Ms. Wilson's house on Boyd Street in addition to several others. So both of those houses will be addressed as we finalize the end part of the minimum housing process. Also, I know that Mr. Wellborn and Mr. Weldon have been working on potentially trying to get some cost figures together for when we are able to finally tear down some of these. And with that said, I'll turn it over to Mike.
All right. Yes, I have the house on Mill Street. I have talked with the owner, Mr. Broder, who at the initial hearing that we had told me that he was having some financial difficulties, but we gave him the same time limit that we give everybody else to try and abate the problem. His abatement date is on May the 23rd of this month. I spoke with him earlier today and just asked him what his intentions were. He told me that he's in talks with some people about selling the property to them. He hopes to know something within the next couple of days. He said if he has not heard something in the next couple of days, by the first of next week, he was going to try and ask for an extension, a 30-day extension. Now, these extensions are not always granted. They're brought to us, and Terry and I sit down and we discuss these things, and if we feel like they're deserving of the extra 30 days, then we grant that. If not, then we move on with the process, which is turning it over to town attorney for further review and making sure that we're going down the right path with it all. And then, of course, is always bringing it back to council to get your final approval to abate the problem ourselves.
How long is the timeline? The least amount of time and the furthest amount of time?
The most amount of time would be 6 months. The least amount of time could be as much as 90 days. And the most could be as much as 180 days.
6 months. From May 23rd?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And the piece of property you're speaking of, you're talking about the one on Mill Street when you first come in down
the one that burnt, that's the one that burnt. Been boarded up, yes, sir.
Okay. How about Miss Wilson's house?
Miss Wilson's house, that one there is one that we're still waiting on direction from Keene and from Terry to further take that to, well, according to the ordinance, it's to be taken to Pitt County Superior Court and then brought back to council for us to abate the problem.
And let me add to what Mike and Terry are saying. That is correct. The way our ordinance reads is this next step takes us to Superior Court. To the best of my knowledge, we've never done this before. I stand corrected if we have, but it's sort of a new step for us. I've done a significant amount of legal research. There's still a few more things I've got to do. Mike has been waiting for me for a little while very patiently, so the buck stops with me. I will have that done in the next couple of weeks so we can move forward. And the research we're doing is going to touch many different properties, so once we get that done, we can take steps on. We'll figure out whether we start on 5 or 6 at once or do 2 at once or however we do it, but we'll come up with an appropriate plan.
Mr. Grimes has a fine piece of property. He lives beside this. I feel like it's not fair to residents around, to have a house sitting there year after year and have the dumpsters there. Of course, we're going to address that later on. I just sharing his.
Well, that's not a dumpster up there. That's a storage unit that Miss Wilson has rented to put up there. And I spoke with Alan about it because it was mentioned about it being in the right of way. And if I'm not mistaken, it was not in the right of way.
It's across the ditch, if you straight down.
Well, again, if I could interject, that the subject of temporary storage units is something we discussed last month, and you all directed staff to put a draft ordinance together, carry it before planning and zoning. Alan is currently working on that, and you will see that back before you in the very near future. So,
Thank you.
It was my understanding that, as you said, that was a storage unit, and they were supposedly removing items from the house.
Yes, sir.
Putting it in that storage unit. Now, I don't know what they were going to do with it once they got it in the storage unit, but that was my understanding.
I don't think any of us would like a storage unit beside their house.
No.
As long as that's been sitting there on Boyd Street.
And I can understand Mr. Grimes' concern trying to get out of his driveway with that thing sitting there is a problem.
It's really an eyesore.
The property, while we have you here, on the corner of Brunner White and Mills, the old apartment, yeah, I mean, it's a very eyesore. When we first come into our city limits from the northern part of Greenville, or from the south part of Greenville, coming into Winterville, that is one sore eye. Now, we need to do something about that. Have you been working on that one?
Yes, sir. And according to our ordinance, once we asked her to board it up to keep the vagrants out, then she has up to 1 year to make a decision on what she can do with the property, and that's within our ordinance. And so she's...
When is that year up? Is the year up yet?
No, sir. No, sir. We're only about 7 months into it.
Now, what about just keeping the grass cut and the hedges cut down and keep it looking presentable? I know we got to board it up, so I have seen that.
Right. And, I mean, she is a little bit behind on the grass cutting. I have been in touch with Ms. Harris about that. As far as the bushes and stuff go, I mean, that's on the outer edge of her of that particular parcel. Now, the parcel that carries the sign with it, that's been wooded there since I've been here. And my understanding is if it's been wooded, we weren't going to require the landowner to go out there and clear it.
Mike, let me just say that I come through there all the time. And since we've had this warm weather and the rain, it's looking better because it's grown up over there. You can't see it. I'm being serious. You don't see it as quickly. So the grass maybe, but those bushes and trees, for God's sakes, don't cut them.
See what I'm saying?
I was actually just sitting here thinking that. I was thinking it does. You can't see it as much.
That's right.
The wall in the front helps block it off some, but no, that's not, that isn't anything we've just put to the side. It's something that we stay on top of, and I stay in touch with Ms. Harris about the property, and I get a lot of stories from her, but you know, it's we're holding her to the timeline.
5 more months. What's the process after that?
Then we take it to, again, have to take it to the town attorney, and he takes it to Superior Court, and then it comes back to council for them to give me direction to abate the property.
My calendar. Thank you.
Are we having any problem with residents keeping the height of their lawns down to them where it needs to be at?
Most of them are usually foreclosed houses, abandoned houses, and empty lots tend to be what nobody takes care of. Most of the houses that are occupied, everybody keeps their grass cut fairly well, but since the rains came through and the sun came back out, we're trying our best to stay on top of it, and we started abatements this week, as a matter of fact, and Travis and his crews have been out and have cut quite a bit of grass today for me, as a matter of fact.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
So if there is a problem, the only thing we have to do is contact you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Excellent.
in terms of costs of demolishing some of these properties, I think it's an ongoing trying to figure out how much that's going to be and whether it's something we can do or we have a contractor do it. So I know that's something that the gentlemen are working on trying to get together, because we will have several that will have to be addressed.
There are about 12?
I don't know exactly, but that sounds about right.
Well,
some of them have been abated, though.
Well, I spoke with a couple of jurisdictions this morning about cost. What they were paying out to demolish some of the properties in their areas, and it looks like the average cost for the 1,000 square foot home, just demolition alone, runs between $4,000 to $5,000. That's tearing the house down, removing all materials from the property, grading the property down, and seeding the property. Now, that does not include asbestos abatement. And of course, with most of the older homes, we've got to have at least an asbestos report, and probably 90% of them have asbestos in them of some sorts. So there'll be a little more cost than that. Also, they went on to say that when you get to the 1,500 to 2,000 square foot home, depending on if it's single story or one story, the cost could really vary. Could go from anywhere from 6,000 to 8,000, and they have actually seen some go for 10,000 to demolish them. So that seems to be what the cost range is going to run.
Does that include the landfill charge to put the stuff in?
Yes, sir.
I just feel sorry for those people who have these homes beside their homes. Nobody should have to have a home beside them like that. I feel sorry for the families, because what's happened, but it's not fair to you to infringe upon other people who live beside it.
I agree.
But we also got to take into account some of these properties are properties that are owned by older citizens in our community. And the houses would be torn down if they could afford it. And I noticed that in other communities, what they've been doing is they've been using CDBG monies to tear down houses. Aiden used CDBG money to tear down the old Zion Chapel Church. Yeah. And they did not put a lien against that property, and the church still owns the property. But they tore down a brick church that was old, that probably had to have some asbestos removed. So I would like for the council to keep that in mind as we talk about tearing down properties. Our people, a lot of our folks have a rich heritage here in Winterville. At the time, we've got over 80% home ownership right here in Winterville. And our people own these properties, and they've been owned by families for generations. And I just hate to see some of these properties lost because of a house that they could not afford to get torn down, when some of our people are just making ends meet that own the property. I know we have one property owner that's actually only planning to pay taxes. And so how can you pay taxes and tear down a house? And they've explored different avenues to get the property torn down. I know that for a fact. But they have not been able to get one that they could afford. And of course, I just do not want to see them lose their property. Maybe I feel a little bit more about it because I've been in that position with my family. We had property, and at the time, we could not afford to get it torn down because the thing was to keep food on the table. And so we need to keep those things in mind as we go along. I know people talk about, I don't want this next door to me. Well, the people that own it don't want it next door to them, but they cannot get it torn down. And we're not offering any assistance. All we're saying, we're going to put a lien against their properties. So I'm sorry, that's my little soapbox.
I got one more area. When you come off of Tar Road onto Vernon White, the development on the right-hand side, what's the name of that?
Blackstone.
Blackstone, on the right-hand side. Have you had anyone to contact you about a fence?
About a what?
A fence on their property?
No, sir.
That has been not lived in within the last 4 or 5 years?
No, I haven't talked with anybody.
Would it be all right for me to show him probably one day next week, and we'll go around and look at it?
The house, as you're driving in the driveway on the left-hand side, isn't the brand house?
It's a
stone house.
It's a two-story house.
You turn on to Vernon White and it's on the...
Yes, turn on Vernon White Road.
From Tar Road.
From Tar Road, and that development on the right-hand side.
That's Preston Trail.
The Preston Trail?
Trails, yes. Mm-hmm.
Left-hand side is Blackstone.
Well, I'm talking about the one on the right-hand side, on Preston Trail. Okay. There. No one have not contacted you about a fence problem?
No, sir. The only people I've had call about a fence is over in Main Street Village.
Okay, yeah.
But no, I mean, if there's one over there, I will go check it out and see what we
Appreciate
got.
it. I will get with you on that.
Is it, I'm sorry, is it a dilapidated fence?
Yes.
Okay.
We discussed the house that had a fire on Mill Street. I've been asked about the house on Cooper Street. I'm gonna call it West Cooper Street. That had a fire there probably 5 years ago. It's on the corner of Cooper and I think it's Cross Street. No one's living there.
Stewart's house?
Yeah.
Stewart.
I'll have to go back and check the records on that one.
He's not living there, Mr. Smith?
No. I don't think he's lived there in some time.
Sometime he lives out on near Worthington Farms.
Preston Trail.
That's the name of it. I live on the other end of Cooper, but I have been asked about people that live there. Why did we not do something with that house? And he did have a fire.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've got some photos of that in the file.
Yeah.
A lot of work got to be done.
Okay. I guess we move on down to the last item, cost estimate on removing homes that are condemned.
And we already covered
We
that.
already done that. Okay. Item number 16 is future agenda work sessions. Okay. Moving on to.
Did we have we? I know we discussed it on our last meeting about the one-way traffic on those small streets. Have we said anything on that, or have we come up with any more ideas on parking on one side of the street?
I'm trying to remember off the top of my head what direction we were given, but let me look into that and get back with you.
Well, we said that we was going to send some information to all of the residents in their electrical bill and when utility.
In the newsletter?
In the newsletter. We consider that.
Right.
That's what we talked about on our last meeting, and I was hoping that we was going to go ahead on at least, put one, the street that I was speaking of, at least have that as a trial, a test to see how it worked, because we do have a problem. They have a problem on that street.
Well, I did not get any direction from the council on what to do regarding that. We discussed some things, but I wasn't aware that you all made a decision.
Well, I think that we didn't know exactly what it was the cost fight of putting up signs, right? Do you have to have signs placed up? Now, that should be not that much. And I think the main thing would be just notify the residents in the area. And I think that we suggest that we would do that on the utility bill now. And I don't know whether or not we've done that.
Are you prohibiting parking, period? Are you parking on one side of the street? That's where.
Yes, one side of the street.
We better have a public hearing on that one.
Yeah, I wasn't clear that this council had given that direction on, I believe it was Myrtle Street? No.
Yes, ma'am.
On moving forward with something on Myrtle Street.
Yes, I'd like for us to move forward on that.
Make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we move forward on whatever it takes for us to design that street to be a one-way parking on one side on a test base. I mean, for a year, just to see how it works.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to. I'm understanding it's just going to be Myrtle Street. Is that right?
That'd be Myrtle and what's that? Myrtle and it's street tied them together. It's
Hammond.
It's what?
Hammond, isn't it? Hammond and Myrtle.
Yes, I think it's Hammond and Myrtle. Yes, all that would be together. Coming right on off of Mill Street. Only from Mill Street right on out to.
There's the narrow streets there.
Yeah, they are.
What's that? That's West Hammond, is because the other part of Hammond is across the railroad and it's wide. nice wide street.
West would be that way, so this right here would be east.
Okay.
So a motion had been made?
Yeah, you made the motion.
You made it.
Okay, you made it, but I'm trying to figure out.
That's second.
You mentioned
So we
another
ready to
street,
go.
what?
It would be the east part of Hammond and Myrtle.
Right. Parking
Okay.
on one side of the street.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, I think. Okay.
End up being a voluntary test without a
Put it in a public hearing.
Could we do that?
We got to have a
Town
public hearing
attorney.
first.
I don't think you have to have a public hearing,
No,
but you can't.
you're not required to have a public hearing. You would need to ultimately put an ordinance on the books. If you wanted to have a temporary run or a short period of time, you would still need, I think, to have an ordinance on the books saying this is a temporary restriction.
And I'm very much in favor of people in the area knowing what's going on in the neighborhoods.
Yeah,
So I would suggest that we have a public hearing. And if I need, to amend that motion to do that, just to let the people know, I don't like the idea of things changing around me and I not knowing. I would like for the people in the area to know and have a chance to voice their concerns about it. Because we don't live there, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They live there. And they may have some questions as to the limits that we're now putting on parking.
Yeah, that's a great point. The statutes don't require a public hearing, but you have the authority to have one whenever you want to.
Yeah. And so you're going to amend your motion to include a public
It's not
hearing?
my motion, Mr. Moore.
Yeah.
Will you amend it today?
I will amend it.
Your motion said whatever steps necessary to do
Yes.
it. So the public hearing would be part of that. And then you won't have to write so many tickets.
We don't want to.
Ordinance implies, we're going to get the word out, but ordinance implies
It would be
enforcement.
required for enforcement actions.
I think it'd be a good idea to have a public hearing before we did the ordinance, because it might
Oh, yes.
change it.
Right.
Okay, we have an amended motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And that will be done on our next meeting. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Any of the staff members over there would like to come forward and give a report of any type?
All at one time?
Done it. Okay, well, we will then start down with our counselor.
Just a point of interest, something that I'm sure all of you are probably aware of, but within the last couple of weeks, the U.S. Supreme Court had a ruling that came out on where they upheld the constitutionality of beginning our public meetings with prayer. And when the Court of Appeals ruled on it a few years ago, there was a lot of questions and whatnot, and I think the Supreme Court has now answered most of those questions. There are some restrictions on what you can and can't do, but basically they've given the thumbs up to begin with prayer. Just thought that was an interesting tidbit as it relates to the legal profession.
I watched it on the news early one morning. They announced it.
You were saying there's some things that you can and cannot do.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, and I would be glad to provide you with some of the information. I have not read the actual opinion as it came out, but for instance, they said that there would be it would not be proper to have a particular prayer that made people uncomfortable or that excluded groups, things like that. So. By and large, there was some question before that whether we could even begin with prayer, and until the U.S. Supreme Court ruled on it, it didn't touch all of us, but they've now said that we're okay. We're good.
Legal.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. That's all I have.
More?
Thank the board for your patience tonight. Thank you for your hard work that the staff does every day. That's all.
Got two things. I'd like to You know, last month we saw one of our residents come up here with a drainage problem in their yard. And now, as I was going by the house last week, had to been last week, I saw DOT trucks there taking care of that. And I really would like to know how they got such a rapid response for that problem when we've been talking about our Board Street for years and we haven't been able to get a response. I've asked them several times, when was the last time any improvements have been made? They have yet to respond to that question. And I really would like to know, you know, just how you work it so that you can get, this is just a month away, and that problem has been alleviated. There were 3 or 4 DOT trucks there working there to get the drainage right in one citizen's yard, but yet and still all the citizens along Board Street can't get any improvements as to that road that passes by them. And I really would like some answers from DOT about that. And the second thing, the family of one of our residents who used to work for the town of Winterville, Robert Blunt, has asked for a resolution to honor his birthday in August. And I would like to ask the board's permission for us to issue a formal resolution honoring his service to the town of Winterville on his birthday.
Second.
Okay, thank you. I make the motion that we do a resolution. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second to do the resolution. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Oh, anything else?
That's it.
Smith?
I don't have anything there.
I would like to thank the board for allowing me to attend the 9th annual North Carolina Black Summit that was held in Raleigh, Durham. It was I had attended one several years ago, and this year is one of the best ones that they ever had. Also, I'd like to ask, who do I need to contact? I do have a street light out in front of my house. I mean, it comes on, but I think once it get warmed up, it goes out. Who do I need to talk to about that, get that fixed? Okay, then when you first come out my driveway, there's one right there to my right-hand side. I appreciate it. That will get me a data boy at home. Thank you.
I only have 3 things. First of all, Travis, thank you for taking care of those drop-dead roses at the graveyard. I appreciate that. And congratulations to the Chief of Police and his department and the citizens of Winterville for being the 5th safest town in the state of North Carolina. Go Winterville. And tomorrow, just to pass the word, I mentioned to some of you, Governor will be at Mendenhall tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
That's right. I forgot that.
And he'd like to have as many councilmen and mayors in the county there as possible. That's all I have. And there'll be a place for the press tomorrow.
Ms. Parker.
Mayor, members of the council, I believe we are entering our 3rd summer of having our summer workers come back to Winterville. Good. And I'm happy to announce we have 6 positions that we started with, and we're bringing back 4. So we've got some guys that have been with us since the beginning, and we've had a few changes. People have gone off to the military and doing some good things, gotten full-time jobs, etc. So I think it's been a really good thing. I know Evan and Travis appreciate the assistance. So we had 4 of our returning folks start today. We have 2 openings, and I already have applications, I believe, from 3 young men who live in Winterville. We started out with the council making recommendations. I just wanted to make sure that there were no recommendations. I would like to proceed with the applications we do have, but if you certainly have recommendations, then we will make sure those folks fill out applications as well.
What I did have a couple of youth to ask me about it. I was thinking that those positions has been filled by the ones that have worked, previously.
Well, we had 4 returning. Again, we had some good things happen to a couple of the young men that had previously worked with us, which is great. We certainly want to congratulate them, but we do have 2 openings currently, and if you could quickly send them to my office. We could.
The age group, what age do they have to be?
I believe, off the top of my head, it is 18 to, I want to say 24, but I'm doing that off memory.
Okay, I think this young man is 16.
that's a little bit younger than this particular age group for the kinds of work that they will currently be doing. But I do have some folks that I believe, assuming that everything goes well, they can quickly fill those. We will have, as it stands right now, 2 of the 6 working with Parks and Recreation, and the other 4 working with Public Works. And Evan and Travis do a good job of switching back and forth and sending these guys where they're needed most. So it's been a really positive thing, and I think I know staff certainly appreciates the opportunity to have some extra help during the warm weather. That's all.
Okay, what about the update on the Blue Line stream?
Nothing has happened since I last reported to you, because quite frankly, in the one of me, I have not had an opportunity to do anything with that project in light of everything else we've got going on with budget. So as soon as that lightens up a little bit, we'll move forward with talking to the funding agencies we've identified. Does that make sense?
I reckon. I mean, if we don't have no help, we don't have no help. But I thought that, good God, Lord, all that talent we got over there, all that knowledge.
I don't, it certainly wasn't a slight on staff whatsoever. It's a matter of we've got to talk to funding agencies, and we need the opportunity to be able to do that and give it the time it deserves.
Yeah.
The only thing I have to mention, I should have done it before now, to mention speeding. Chief, would you just check and let me know what the rules or statutes say about mopeds? Where they're supposed to operate in the roadway, the speed and so forth. There's a guy that's got one that comes by my house, a moped, I guarantee you is running 50 miles an hour.
Goodness.
30 miles an hour.
It used to be 20, I know it had changed.
30 is
I didn't even
right
know
in part of the lane.
fast.
30 is the max. 31 and not moped.
Well, I've also heard that they are supposed to operate pretty much under the same rules as a bicycle. And the statute used to say, I don't know, maybe it's changed, that bicycle riders will operate in the farthest, most right-handed portion of the roadway.
Right.
If that be true for mopeds, some of these guys around here, but I don't know who this guy is that comes by the house. I mean, I guarantee you he's running 50 miles an hour. And then there's another one that comes by that has no muffler. He makes more noise than a tandem truck does. But okay, I think that's all minds are clear. Do I hear a motion we adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
It's 9 o'clock.
All right. Mr. Kidder's on my case. Mr. Grimes on my case. What's up, Alan?
The ones that I have is Calvin Henderson and Chantel. Is it Hawkins? I think maybe you can do better than me. Okay.
The guy who wasn't here.
That's Lee Grimes, but
Have a quick word?
yeah, it's by his house, and then this was the first one I think that spoke.
Things that you like.
Can I have your copy of
Now, if you're seeing a bunch of stuff that you're seeing, and it's just surprising, you continuously see different stuff that you've done. So, my suggestion is go ahead and
Primrose Lane. Primrose Street, I believe.